Hello everyone, my name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. Today is Sunday, the 21st of September 2025. I am out on one of my long walks. I have been walking for about 3 hours now, and I am on my way back home. It is a sunny day, warm day, beautiful day. I am really enjoying my time here. This morning I went out with my 4 dogs and we had a good time. We played together, we walked around, then I took them home for them to eat and sleep, and I left. So here I am. What I want to talk to you about today is a topic pertaining to the making of the philosopher, to the quality one needs to have to do philosophy. And that quality is patience. The other day I was talking to someone and we had a nice exchange, and at some point they remarked, hey Prot, I really appreciate your insights. I am interested in philosophy. I want to learn more. Can you recommend some books for me to start studying philosophy? My usual answer to such questions was of the formulaic sort. I would say something along the lines of, oh, here is Plato and Aristoteles, and take it from there. But I don't actually believe in those words. So something clicked and I decided to speak my mind in earnest and to hold nothing back. And this is what I will do now. I told my friend there that first you walk, then you think for yourself. This is how you do philosophy. And I shall explain what this means. If you start by reading books, you will absorb a lot of knowledge, or a lot of ideas anyway, many new words and concepts, but you will not necessarily develop that quality you need to have to entertain ideas, to think things through, to operate in cycles of uncertainty, to not reach early conclusions, to not finish quickly. So to be able to deal with uncertainty, to cope with the indeterminate. And that quality is patience. So it is important to do activities, perform tasks that condition you to be more patient, that train this patience muscle, if you will. One such activity, not the only one, but a really good one, is walking. It is great because the pace you are walking at is your natural pace. You cannot really force yourself to go quicker. If you are running out of patience, well, too bad. You have to just wait. You have to deal with it. If you are to go from point A to point B, you will only go there at the pace that your body can sustain. You cannot go just because you wished it. You cannot just teleport there. And what this means concretely is that when you are on a walk, you get used to things happening slowly. Things happening at a pace that is natural for them to happen. You get used to a more organic experience of the world, to states of affairs emerging when they are meant to emerge, and not on demand, not because of your whimsy, not in response to your petulant wants. When you are on a walk, what you do essentially is you make a commitment. Suppose that you go on a 1-hour walk. You tell yourself that I commit to walk for 1 hour. And then about halfway through, you have a change of mind and you're like, you know what? I'm really bored right now. I said that I would do 1 hour, but now I am having second thoughts, and now that I think about it, actually I will quit. Well, guess what? You cannot quit, because you have covered half the distance, and there is no way for you to just quit and teleport back home. You have to walk back home, which means that if you walked for 30 minutes, well, there is another 30 minutes for you to go back home. So in other words, you cannot renege on your promise the way you can renege on promises you make to yourself when those tasks are supposed to happen at home. For example, you tell yourself that, oh, I will sit at the computer for 2 hours and respond to all my emails and do all my bills and, I don't know, write an essay or whatever, and after those 2 hours then I can play some video game or whatever. What will happen in practice is you will work for 20 minutes and then you will get bored and then you will play the video game. And you can do that because quitting is easy. Cheating your way out of it, out of your promise, is frictionless almost. Like, there is no cost to it. You do it, there is nobody to hold you accountable. Of course, you may have guilt afterwards, you may feel guilt, but guilt is a powerless feeling in this situation. You will do it again, eventually you won't feel anything, and then you will rationalize it away as, well, it wasn't important to begin with. Walking, though, is different. Walking is the real deal. Like, there is no cheating. You commit to it, you do it. And this is great because it's not about the walk itself, which is wonderful, we will get to that, but it's about conditioning yourself to not finish early, conditioning yourself to not quit, to not cheat your way out of it. You said 1 hour, you will do 1 hour. You said 2 hours, you will do 2 hours. 4 hours, 4 hours, even better. The point is that you are not getting away with the false way of doing things, with faking it. And so walking keeps you honest. Walking comes with a built-in accountability mechanism, a built-in way of ensuring that you do what you told yourself, what you promised yourself to do. And if you are walking consistently, let's say daily, or if not daily, 3 times a week, let's say, something like that, then what you are doing is you are making a habit out of being consistent, a habit out of being honest, a habit out of doing things the right way, doing things the hard way, not taking the easy way out, not cheating. And that's, in other words, a habit of excellence. A habit also of doing things slowly. And you will see, the more you observe the little things in life, that doing things slowly usually means doing things right. Doing things in a way that is appropriate for them to be done in. Not doing them in a manner that is sloppy, in a manner that is essentially fake, without having any heart into it, without putting any heart into it, without having any passion involved. With walking, you also have another nice feature, which is the fact that the slow pace doesn't just train the mind to wait, doesn't just train you to not finish early. It also gives you the opportunity to start training your situational awareness. I walk a lot, and of course I pay attention to the little things all around. I pay attention to the soil right now. It's rocky, there is gravel. I can tell that it is hard soil. I can tell that were it to rain, this would not become muddy. I could still walk through here. I get to feel the breeze on my face. I can tell from where the wind is blowing. I know where the sun is rising from. I can observe the differences in color from the light greens to the dark greens, to the browns, to the ochre, to the white stone over there. I get to see all those things. I observe the insects. Everything is clear. I can tell the difference between the plants. I know them by name. I know them all. I know what they are. I know what fruits they yield. I know what they can be used for. And I do all this because, of course, I pay attention. And I notice the little things. I see, for example, that those pine trees, I don't know if they are caught on camera, those pine trees are tilted in that direction. And that is because at that specific point, the wind is always blowing like that due to the way the mountains are. The winds cannot come from the other direction because there is a mountain in between. So of course I know what that means should I ever need to, for example, escape from wildfires, as I did a while ago. I know the terrain, I have situational awareness, and I do that because I am paying attention to the little things. I cannot afford to be absent-minded. Of course, I cannot afford to be absent-minded in most things I do. I need to have presence in my present, but I can also not afford to be absent-minded when I am out in nature, because of course in nature I am no longer operating in the safety of a built-up area, in the predictability of civilization, let's call it. Of course, I'm not in the wilderness, I am not in the jungle, sure, but still there are wild snakes around here, for example. And I don't know if there is one in front of me. If I am absent-minded, I might step on a snake, on a venomous snake, and now I am bitten by a venomous snake and I am in trouble. All because I was absent-minded. So of course I have to be paying attention. I have to be observing the little things and discerning the nuances therein. This skill, of course, is practical for the purposes of walking and the purposes of surviving in the wild, but it's also, again, an exercise to make you always operate with presence in your present, to always do what you are doing with undivided attention. So to do it right again, so you do it slowly, you do it with focus. And so now you are really in it, you are really there, and you are really doing what you ought to be doing. And all this comes from walking. All this comes from something as basic as getting out there, something as basic as just going on a path wherever it takes you. It doesn't matter where. It's not about going to a certain place. What matters is that you just walk and you don't stop and you continue, and little by little you get used to that pace, and little by little you get used to this amount of information coming in, absorbing all the details, all the little things. You will notice, if you ever drive on a highway, you will notice how, if you are observing the horizon, everything around you blurs into a shapeless amalgamation of color. Like you see something that looks like a tree, something that looks like a bird, something that looks like a deer or whatever, but in reality it's really just visual noise. You don't really discern any pattern, any structure, any form whatsoever. When you are walking though, you pay attention not just to the shapes, but to the little motions and to the subtle details. And this is what you want to do. Because if you can do it when you are walking, then of course you have trained the relevant faculties to do it in general. And by the way, folks, I took a path that I've never taken before, and it ends here. Of course, I could go through the bushland, but that's a bad idea because of the vipers, of the venomous snakes. So let's go back, and then I will go the other way as I am heading back home. The point is that walking is not an end in itself. Even though that would still be good. It's not an end in itself, but it's the means through which you train yourself. You train yourself to operate at your natural pace, and you train yourself to have situational awareness, else to have presence in your present, to understand where you are, and to know what is happening to you, what is happening around you. Walking, of course, is good as well because it's a physical activity, and physical activity means that you also do training, and the training is good because you cannot really decouple your mind from your body. You are an embodied mind. Mind and body are one. We talk about them as if they are two magnitudes, mind and body, but that is an analytical distinction. That is a figure of speech, if you will. Those are concepts. In our experience, what we live, there is body and mind as one. And so when you train the body, when the body is in a good condition, in practice, the mind is in a good state as well. And of course, this is something you know very well when, for example, you are ill and you cannot think straight, because all your body needs in that moment is to recover from the illness. When you are in pain, you cannot entertain inconclusive thoughts. You cannot really philosophize with rigor when your body is focused on the pain, on the injury. So of course, having a body that is in a good condition liberates you, emancipates you from the pain, emancipates you from all these forces that hold you back, and allows you to entertain the thoughts, allows you to operate at that greater level of abstraction. You can abstract away from the particularities because the particularities are no longer bothering you. They are, in a sense, secure. They are, in a sense, solid. They will be there. You can afford to get away from them through your thinking. When I am walking, you have seen this in many videos I do. When I am walking, now I'm walking uphill, maybe you don't realize it, but it's not that easy. If you ever go on a walk, try to talk. Walk and talk, and to talk continuously. Forget about what you are saying, just talk, and see how difficult that is. Then, when you have mastered that, take it up a notch, kick things up a notch, and walk, talk, and continue on a theme that is consistent. So keep saying something, elaborate on a concept, explain something, tell us something, and then you will see how difficult that is. Because now it's about the body not requiring too much attention. It's about the body, in a sense, being confident in its abilities, so it doesn't need to trigger the alarm and to say, for example, hey, we are running out of oxygen here, stop what you are saying and just give me air. It doesn't need to do that. It is secure. And it doesn't need to do that when I am thinking things through. It doesn't need to say, hey, stop everything you are doing and send energy my way so that I can continue walking. So in a sense, switch off your brain, switch off those thoughts, and then whatever resources are committed to that task, send them down here. No, we don't do that, right? We don't need that because we have trained the body to not need that. We have trained the body to be calm. We have trained the body to not panic. And then, of course, we, at the level of the mind, at the level of our thoughts, we do not experience disturbances. So we reach the point of tranquility, the point of elaborating on ideas, on entertaining thoughts that are inconclusive, without feeling frustration or ire. And we do that because, of course, there is no physical disturbance, which may then manifest as interruptions in our train of thought or as blocks in our thinking. And these go together. There is this idea that people have, which is like, oh, I will do, I don't know, mindfulness meditation. I will just concentrate, and this way I will be tranquil, or I will achieve my goals in life, or whatever. To which I'm like, no, you won't. Sorry to tell you the bad news, but this won't happen. You are just fooling yourself if you believe that this is brain work. If you believe that if I really think about it, it will happen. It won't. It really won't. That's just wishful thinking. That is fundamentally your lazy self doing the talking. That is fundamentally the voice inside of you, which is lazy, which doesn't want to do things slowly, which doesn't want to do things right, and which says, you know what? Instead of going on that long and hard path, which is here exemplified as a walk, instead of doing that, let's just do the easy way out, which is some gimmick, and this gimmick will give you the same results. And the answer is no, it won't give you the same results. To be clear, it's not mindfulness meditation that is the problem. It's if you do that, thinking that it's a substitute for all the other work you need to do. Okay? So to be clear. And by training the body then, we are effectively training our breathing. We are effectively training our heart, the heart rate, the heartbeat, all these physiological metrics which, let's say, contribute to fitness and which in practice contribute to the experience of non-disturbance, the experience of uninterrupted thinking, the experience of uninterruptible thinking. Once you master those skills, then you reach a point where you can continue to think, and basically you are present in your presence while still developing those abstractions and thinking things through and connecting all the dots. And all this happens not because you read all the books that philosophers are supposed to read. No. All this happens because you started practicing what nature has endowed you with. And that is not books. That is your body. And you worked your body and you operated at the pace that nature has endowed you with. The pace that is natural for you. When you do that, then of course you can read any book you want. I'm not against reading. What I am trying to highlight here is the qualities of the person. The qualities that are, in a sense, understated. In a sense, they are always there and thus easy to miss. You talk to someone who is a master of what I'm now describing, and you can tell that there is integrity to their thought. You can tell that there is refinement there, that there is profundity. But you cannot really understand why. You cannot really pinpoint it. And the reason you cannot is because, on the one hand, it is simple. On the other hand, you have to experience it yourself. It's not a difficult concept. What I'm now saying, it's not some of those fancy words philosophers use at the universities to talk among themselves in this academic bubble they have. What I am now saying is something really simple. It's about the slow pace. It's about conditioning yourself to take it all in. It's about having situational awareness. These are basic things. I could talk about these things without ever mentioning philosophy. I could talk about these things, for example, in the concept of hunting or fishing or baking bread. I could talk about these in the context of anything we do in our everyday life, and it would still make sense. And I am able to draw this connection and to say exactly what I just said because, of course, I understand the depth in the everyday things. And I understand the depth in the everyday things because, of course, I can discern it. And I can discern it because I allow myself the chance to take things in slowly. I do not need to rush things to a conclusion. I do not feel any kind of pressure, any kind of anxiety, any kind of stress to finish quickly, to move on to the next thing. Nothing is pressuring me. Nothing is compelling me into the wrong conclusion. And that's what I had to tell you today, folks. Thank you very much for your attention. Let me take off my glasses here, the shades. This, by the way, I got like 2 months ago, and in the beginning I wasn't used to it, but now I have gotten used to it and it's really nice. It has changed the way I walk during the day and I really enjoy it. But anyway, that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care and remember, it's the little things. It's not about complicating the world. It's not about using the most fancy words and the most difficult and elaborate concepts. And I would say when you do that, that is the sign that you still have a lot of work to do. That is the sign that you are a beginner, which of course is fine, but you have a long way to go. Take care, folks, and goodbye for now.